This is the plaintiff, Lisa Borey. She says she and the defendant have known one another for 3 years. And when her dog became ill and needed emergency vet care, she stepped in to save the day. Now, she can't get the defendant to pay her back the $1,886.95 she loaned her to save her dog's life. Well, friend or no friend, she's suing here and now. This is the defendant, Helen Sarno. She says the plaintiff watched her dog Norman while she was on a trip, and when she returned, Norman was hemorrhaging, had liver failure, and wanted a cardiac arrest. When he was rushed to the hospital, the plaintiff paid for everything because Norman got sick while in her care. Now she wants to be paid back? Ha! She's accused of fouling up a friendship. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $2,383.52 for a blood-soaked carpet and additional vet fees.
All parties, please raise your right hand. Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn.
Thank you, Douglas. Lisa Borey?
Yes.
All right. You are suing Helen Sarno?
Yes.
Your former friend for $1,886.95 in an animal hospital bill that you paid for her pet that you had been pet sitting. You have a counterclaim against her for $2,383.52 because your carpet was damaged, because you paid vet bills, and $1,200 in special dog food. All right, what's going on?
Well, Your Honor.
Are you twins?
Yes. Yes.
We certainly embrace your twinness too. You're like still kind of mirror imaging. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. The defendant and I were friends, and I have dog sat for her many, many times in the friendship that we had over 3 years. In this past June, she went up to New York, and I watched her dog for her for a whole week. He was fine.
What kind of dog is this?
It's a little Yorkie. I have pictures of him, Your Honor.
Okay.
And I have pictures of my apartment so you can see where he stays.
So for the whole week, the dog was fine?
The dog was fine, never an issue, never a problem. She picked him up on June 17th, and that was it until the next day when this whole issue started.
And what was the issue that started?
The issue was, as far as I know, that the dog was bleeding from his rectum and he was throwing up.
Okay.
And she called my sister and myself during the day on the 18th to say that he was very sick and she was going to take him to the vet hospital right where she lives. As far as I know, she paid $200 the first visit. I don't know what they did to the dog. I have no idea. Later on that afternoon, she called my sister and asked my sister to go over because I was at work. My sister took the call and she felt bad, so she went over to Miss Sarno's house. And to be honest with you, I never saw the dog. My sister is my witness as to what happened from that point on.
Okay, come on up. What happened?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I went over to the defendant's house. I looked at the dog. He was very sick. I could tell right away he was very sick. He was also bleeding. So we went back to the first animal hospital that she had took the dog to. And when we went back there, they wanted another $176 to see the dog. So down in Florida, you have to pay up front before they'll even treat the dog.
Who paid the first vet bill?
She did.
Okay, so go on.
Okay. She did not have $175. She didn't have any money on her. So I, as a good friend and in good faith, put it on my credit card, which I have the two bills right here. And they worked. I don't know what they did actually with the dog.
What did you tell them had happened with the dog?
We didn't. She said something.
But she wasn't with the dog. What's going on? What, you take the dog, you pick up your dog and your dog is very sick.
I picked up my dog.
Do you call her and say, was there anything happening there? What happens?
The dog was bleeding. I ran down the block. It's 3 blocks away. I ran down with my dog. I called Lisa up. I said, Lisa, what happened to my dog? Lisa stated that she gave the dog cat food and it was eating duck feces. It's on the paper.
On what paper?
On the doctor's papers.
Let me see the doctor's papers.
Okay, first.
No way.
This one, this is what she stated to the doctor. This is what I stated to the doctor when I walked in. So I was first, and then she came in later on after work.
All right. Fed Norman cat food with his dog food all week to get him to eat. Where did you get that from?
From Lisa.
Did you give the dog cat food in order to get the dog to eat because it wouldn't eat?
Your Honor, I have 2 cats, and she knows that I have 2 cats.
Right. That's not my answer to my question. My question is, did you give the dog a little bit of cat food?
I gave it a little bit of cat food.
Okay.
However,
on purpose, in order to get the dog to eat because the dog wasn't eating?
Right. When she first came, he wasn't eating. I put out the dog food in the bowl, full of dog food. I sprinkled a little bit of the nuggets, maybe 5, into his food so he would eat the food. And then he started eating the dog food. And that was
When
it.
did he start vomiting?
When he was with her, not with me.
How many days did you have the dog?
I had the dog about 7 days. There was nothing
So
wrong
it's
with the dog.
7 days of the dog eating a little bit of cat food?
No. Just like 2 days. That was it. And then he started eating the dog food. The dog didn't get sick, Your Honor, when he was with me. It was after she took the dog
Well, no, the
home.
dog shows symptoms when she picks him up. She picks him up from you on what day?
The 17th.
Okay, and what day do you take the dog to the first vet where you have the receipt? Let me see the receipt.
18th in the morning.
Right. What she's saying is it's what you did that caused it. I don't know what.
sister told me.
The doctor said. The sister told you what?
Her sister said that the dog had diarrhea the night before.
No, she did not.
It was,
That.
Your Honor, the God's honest truth.
Oh, yeah.
God's honest truth. They could say what they want.
What did they say was finally wrong with the dog? They
Well,
just
when I
basically treated the diarrhea to get
Right.
the dog to not.
Stop bleeding. They took him in the back. They gave him IV, because he was dehydrated. They gave him painkillers because he was in pain. And then they gave me a bunch of medicine. Then I went back home. Lisa's sister came by my house. And I said to her, Lynn, what happened to my dog? She goes, oh, he had the runs last night. It was
She
blood.
did not.
Listen, I'm
did
talking.
not.
Okay, hey, don't
Don't
talk
do
to
that.
each other. That's enough
Yeah.
already. It's not a sporting event. Go on.
So then I'm in the hospital a second time. Lynn's on the phone with her sister. Lynn was just as scared as I was. Lisa's at work yelling in the background. You can hear her yelling. Lisa kept calling my hospital saying, I don't want him there. I don't want him there. Take him to Coral Springs Hospital. So I took him to Coral Springs. Me and his sister went. Me and his sister go.
Why do you move to Coral Springs?
Well, that's where we live, Your Honor.
I live in
No,
Margate.
but why did her dog get moved to Coral Springs? That obviously wasn't convenient for her. It was convenient for
Look,
you.
it
So
was,
you
Your
did
Honor.
instruct her to move the dog to a different hospital?
It was only like 10 minutes down the road, Your Honor. It wasn't far. It was a hospital
But
because...
why did you want the dog moved there?
Go ahead.
Okay, we wanted the dog to be moved there because she was going to bring the dog to another animal hospital, which was farther away at 6 p.m.
But what difference does it make? It's not your dog. So why is it, like, in other words, you seem to be taking over the...
Because the dog was going to die.
The dog was
if we
gonna
didn't
die.
do something right away.
And she had no money.
Okay,
The dog was
and
gonna
I
die.
understand that, but having it close or far, I mean, if she has no money, you can just give her money, but that's not what you guys did. You wanted the dog closer to you, like you're acting like people who might feel a little responsibility
No.
for the dog. Here's my question. Why do you pay the bill when it's not your dog?
Because she didn't have any money, and in order for them to work on the dog for a second time, I had to...
You pulled out your credit card. That answers this. You pulled out your credit card because you didn't have them. You paid because you didn't have money. My question is, what discussion do you have with her? Can you stop rifling for
Oh,
papers?
I'm sorry.
Okay, what agreement do you have with her about payment?
We said that we would discuss it after the fact because it was a very emotional time. I said we would talk about it afterwards, but...
So when
time
you
was-
pay, you never say to her, by the way, I expect you to pay me back.
No, that I didn't say.
When was the first time that you say to her, I expect you to pay us back?
When we all went to the diner after this whole episode happened.
How much after this whole episode and you paying for the dog bill was that? A week, 2 weeks?
No, the same day.
Same day?
The same day.
All right. Okay, according to you, when was the first time that they told you we expect you to pay us for this bill?
August 18th, I had the voicemail.
And that was how much after the
almost 2 months later.
Okay, and that's according to you the very first time they bring up your
Very
payment.
first time, Your Honor.
Did she ever talk to you before suing you and say, hey, I expect you to pay this bill?
Never, Your Honor, never.
Well, I mean, most people
No,
would talk
she
to a
didn't-
person before
Your Honor,
suing them because maybe you'll pay for the bill and they don't have to sue
The
you.
only thing she talked about was herself, as usual. Always. I went to I'm here nursing my dog and she's telling me, oh, me and my sister went to a car show. Oh, you did it there and stuff. Then another day she calls me up, oh, we went to the beach. I was like, all right, that's nice. I'm here nursing the dog. I really don't care. She never said anything about the money. Never.
Okay, but before suing you, she probably says something about the money because she wants you to pay her.
No.
Did you have some kind of fight?
No.
Just one day you're surprised by a lawsuit?
Yeah.
Seems inefficient.
Well,
my
that's the
gosh.
way they are. Yeah, they're dramatic. They're the victims.
How much was the bill?
I paid
Is it just you who paid or you both paid?
Well, we
No,
both
I paid,
paid.
'cause
We
I have
both
my
paid.
Okay, how much did you pay?
Okay, this bill is for $1,400 and I believe $25. I have all my receipts here, Your Honor. This is the original bill.
And then what did you pay?
$1,425.
$176.35.
So why are you suing for $1,886.95?
Court fees.
All right. And then you have a counterclaim against them for your carpet because you feel the diarrhea is her fault.
It was blood.
And $1,200 for special dog food. What's that about?
Your Honor, $8 a can for the dog food. $8. I have the receipt.
But why is your dog still on that?
Because his stomach was eaten out. The whole thing was eaten out.
Just by eating cat food? Do you have something from a vet that says
Yes, I
that the
do.
cat food causes?
Cat food.
That's a different question than whether you have to pay back that.
Oh, yeah.
that
No,
bill.
I
There's
understand.
two different things going on. Okay. Everyone seems to be under the impression that all I got to figure is did it happen from the cat food or didn't it?
Oh, it
and
did.
then all of a sudden you get, reimbursed. That's not how it works. The real question on whether you get reimbursed for the amount you paid is whether this was supposed to be a loan or this was something that you undertook to do. You've got a lot of things against you. You're directing what hospital the dog's to go to. You're like kind of taking control. You want the dog near you. And you admit that nobody discussed with her before you paid it, that she would have to pay it back. That it was kind of we stepped up to the plate in good faith, which is the kind of thing you do if you think that maybe it did happen at your place. And then there's the conversation with the vets, where obviously somebody's getting a little worried. And I did do a little research before I came out here. And there are many sites, or whatever it's worth, that talk about the richness of cat food not working for the digestion of a dog, that there's some issues about that. But do you have anything that actually says that this is what happened to this dog?
I do have that.
Your Honor.
Just a moment, ma'am.
Okay.
You guys don't mind if I have a chat with the vet, do you?
No.
No.
All rise.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey 11 here. So here's the question. The plaintiff pays the vet bill. Is she acknowledging she did something wrong and thereby is responsible for the vet bill?
No, she's not acknowledging she did anything wrong. But she did assume responsibility by taking care of the dog. And
Okay, fair enough. Now, the second question then is, once she pays, when the defendant gets home, is she responsible to pay the plaintiff back?
I would say yes, it's their dog. It's her dog, so yes.
You think that you agree with that?
Yes.
Because it's her dog.
Yes.
And she benefits.
Yes.
Fair enough. Going inside the courtroom.
Okay, well, the vet's on vacation.
I'm Irish.
I have a question for you. You're suing for $750 for your carpet.
Right.
Why $750?
That's how much I paid for it.
Do you have pictures of it?
I didn't know I was getting sued.
So you had a bloody carpet
everything was
and
fine.
you felt it was their fault, but you didn't take pictures. All right, and then I need to see how old that carpet is. So because your measure of damage in a courtroom is not going to be, hey, I got a new carpet bonanza for me.
No.
It's going to be what's the value of the item that got ruined. First, you have to prove it was ruined. Then you have to prove the value of the item ruined, which you have neither.
No, I don't.
Okay, now let's talk about the special dog food.
Right.
You're asking for $1,200 and your proof is a piece of paper that says Hill's Royal Cabin Tom's Sensitive Stomach Formula. That's it.
Right. And
Not that it's medically necessary. And then someone has written in ink, better for pet to be on food.
Right, because when
how
I-
are you going to use that to have me force them to pay? And how do you come up with $1,256?
It's 3.5 cans a week, right?
For
I
how
give 'em
long?
For a year.
Even with the ink that's been added on here,
Right.
it doesn't say a year.
But I tell you, when I went there and I showed him my receipt, I says, well, the judge ain't gonna have ESB.
Yeah,
No,
right. This vet bill is in July. What's the $185 for? It has things like Benadryl.
Right, but it has no protein.
And then it says give half a tablet 1 hour before grooming.
Oh, that's the Benadryl because if I wanted to get him groomed, he was
Okay.
all
Do you have
nervous.
the actual receipt? Because this is a photocopy
No.
and something is in pen added on. I need the original receipt for this because this is making me nervous.
I hear you.
It's not good to have your judge nervous.
I hear you. I honestly, Your Honor, I really don't think I have it.
Okay.
Because
So what we do have then is $192.52 of the original June 18th bill.
Right.
Okay. So here we are. We have an event happening. We have a possible explanation because you're telling the vet that you gave the dog a little bit of cat food to get the dog to eat because the dog wasn't eating.
Correct.
Okay. Now, I got to tell you, you're also saying, well, she knows we have cats, so she assumed the risk. That's different. Her dog, accidentally eating the cat food. An answer to that would be she assumed the risk because she knew we had cats. But you feeding the dog cat food, and this was news to me, to be honest with you. My dog could eat a sock and she'd barely belch. I mean, so I just think that it's kind of dependent on the dog. And I believe you when you say that you've done it before. The problem is that the vet seems to think you shouldn't. So, what am I supposed to do with the vet who's talking about only one possible cause? The only cause that's mentioned is that one. And a dog that got very seriously ill. Now, my job is not to say, hey, it's your dog. In the end, you should pay them back. That's not my job. My job is to figure out what was the agreement between you guys. And the agreement, very candidly, according to your own testimony, is that there was no agreement. That at the time that you're paying for it, you're paying it, quote, in good faith. At the time that you're paying for it, you're acting as though you're worried that what you did caused it. And according to the vet, that's kind of what the vet thinks probably caused it, because it's the only thing he talks about in there. So that's why you pay. And it isn't until later, whether it's later that night at a diner or 2 months later, like you're saying, because one of you guys is lying about that. It isn't until later that the subject comes up of, hey, you got to pay us. But at the time that you undertake the cost, there's no agreement to pay you. And therefore, I am not ordering her to pay you because I cannot call that a debt she incurred because that's what you did. You did it string free. And now you want to attach strings and you cannot. That's her testimony. You were in the same courtroom I was, right? Because you're exasperated, but you heard her testimony. All right, now let's talk about your lawsuit against her. In your lawsuit against her, you do have to prove that, because you're saying I have all these, I have $2,300 in damages. You have to prove that it's because of the cat food. So what do we have? We have a carpet where you can't prove the value or the damage to the carpet. And I don't even know whether you just felt like changing your carpet. Oh. That's not going to cut it. So that's not proof. We have special dog food. Well, we've already been over the little problems with that little thing. All right. So yeah. Okay. And now on the vet bills, you handed me a vet bill from a month later that has Benadryl. And I'm not going to order them to pay that, but your vet bill from that day, I am in fact going to order them to pay. So on your lawsuit against her, $0. On her lawsuit against you, $192.52. That is my judgment.
Thank you.
So the plaintiffs come out empty-handed here. What's your feeling about how this wound up?
It's just very sad. We tried to do a good thing for a friend and her dog, and we ended up losing in. So at least the dog is alive. That's all I can say.
Okay. Now, would you do the same thing again?
Nope.
Let's say,
No, never.
Why not?
Because she just took advantage of our good nature. We didn't want the dog to die.
Right. So you think you did the right thing?
I did. I saved her dog. That was that.
All right. So that's your satisfaction out of the whole thing, that the dog's
correct.
alive.
Correct.
Okay. Very good.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
You head
you.
right down this way. All right. So step in here. What's your feeling on this?
Oh, it's a great day. It's a great day.
Don't you appreciate what they tried to do for the dog?
Oh, yeah, I appreciate my dog is alive, but I don't appreciate what she did to my dog in the beginning. And I don't have to ever hear that whining voice ever again. It's a beautiful day.
Harvey?
You can't look at this as universal. If somebody decides to take it on their own to pay money on behalf of somebody else, you can't spring it on the other person. Hey, you're responsible to pay me back. But there has to be a reasonable expectation when you pay that the other person would be assuming that liability. And that would do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.